While I was at work, my wife moved my father's stuff to the basement. When I got home, my mother was sitting in the kitchen, staring at a cold cup of tea. Her eyes were red, not from crying, but from holding it in. She'd always been proud, never wanted to show weakness. I asked her what happened, but she just shook her head and said, "It's fine. I'll manage." It wasn't fine. A quick look around the house told me what I needed to know. My father's armchair was missing from the living room. His books, meticulously arranged for years, were gone from the study. Their bedroom was stripped of anything that was theirs. When I went downstairs, I found it all in the basement, stacked against damp walls, his clothes in open boxes like they were donations waiting for pickup. My wife appeared in the doorway, leaning casually against the frame, arms crossed. "Don't look at me like that," she said. "Your parents don't need the best rooms. My sister and her kids will be staying for a while, and they deserve space." Her sister. Always her sister. In her mind, family meant her family. Mine were just guests in their own son's home. I swallowed my anger. Years of marriage had taught me that yelling only fueled her self-righteousness. Instead, I walked back upstairs, found my mother still in the kitchen, and smiled. "Pack your bags," I told her. She blinked at me, confused. "Why?" "Because you're not sleeping in a basement, and neither is Dad." I didn't explain further. I just picked up my phone and booked him a suite at a quiet lakeside hotel 2 towns over. Somewhere peaceful, somewhere far from my wife's constant territorial battles. When I told my wife my parents would be gone for a while, she didn't hide her satisfaction. Good. It'll make things easier. But here's the thing. She thought I was just choosing sides in another petty household dispute. She had no idea I already knew the truth about her, and that this was the first move in a much bigger plan. 2 months earlier, I'd noticed changes. Late night errands that didn't add up. A sudden obsession with her appearance. Expensive clothes, perfume she'd never worn for me, makeup even when she was supposedly just meeting a friend. At first, I chalked it up to boredom or midlife restlessness. But then her phone buzzed one night while she was in the shower. A message lit up the screen. Last night was worth the risk. Same time next week? The name wasn't saved in her contacts, just a number. But I didn't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure it out. I copied the number, did a quick search through our phone bill, and matched it to one of her sister's friends, a guy who worked at a construction company in the next town. Over the next few weeks, I watched, listened, waited. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I learned her patterns. Wednesday nights, she claimed she was going to help her sister with family stuff. Friday afternoons, she was shopping for the house. Each time, her GPS location, and yes, I checked, placed her right near a dingy little motel off the highway. It's funny how the mind works when betrayal sinks in. The anger comes in waves, but beneath it, there's this cold, surgical precision. I stopped thinking like a husband and started thinking like someone preparing a case. Photos, screenshots, timestamp call logs, receipts. I gathered it all. So when she pushed my parents into the basement, I didn't just see it as disrespect. I saw it as confirmation. This woman had no loyalty to anyone but herself. She'd gotten comfortable pushing people out of her way. I didn't argue that night. I didn't even hint that I knew. I let her think she'd won. But the next day, while she was out, I quietly called her sister and told her I knew about the affair. Her sister stammered, denied, then finally broke. I didn't want to get involved, but yeah, it's been going on for months. That was all I needed. The following week, I told my wife I had a work conference out of town. She barely looked up from her phone. Fine, I'll keep busy. I spent those 3 days finalizing everything. Closing joint accounts, securing the deed to the house in my name, thanks to a clause in our prenup she'd probably forgotten about, and meeting with a divorce attorney who looked at my evidence and said, "This will be the fastest case I've ever filed." On Friday night, I came home earlier than planned. She wasn't there. Her car was parked in front of the motel I'd seen in her GPS history. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. I just left an envelope on the driver's seat, photos, screenshots, and divorce papers. When she came home hours later, the envelope was in her hand, her face pale. You went through my stuff? She demanded. I didn't answer. I just said, the hotel's paid for another week if you want to stay there. My parents will be moving back into their rooms tomorrow. She tried to play it down at first, said I was overreacting, that it meant nothing. But the evidence spoke louder than any excuses. And when I told her about the prenup and that the house, the accounts, everything would be mine, her expression shifted from anger to panic. That night, she left with a single suitcase. No tearful goodbye, no fight. Just silence. 2 days later, my parents returned. My mother stood in the doorway of her old room, looking around like she was afraid it would vanish again. You didn't have to do this, she said quietly. Yes, I did. I told her. This is your home, too. It's been months since then. The house is quieter, calmer. My parents laugh again over dinner. And I've learned something important. Sometimes, betrayal doesn't need to be met with shouting or revenge. Sometimes the best way to end it is to remove the betrayer entirely and reclaim what's yours. And that's exactly what I did.